Hi everyone and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. When Muslims come to haunt me, many of them tell me and my supporters that we should go and listen to Zakir Naik, because Zakir Naik is a very reasonable person who always gives the right answers. I'm not a fan of publicly mocking and criticizing people, except if they attack me first, or if they harm others. I also criticize and mock people who create totally weird and dangerous religions, but this time I want to talk about Zakir Naik. I'm also cautious because he's a medical doctor, but I will just do it anyway. I never liked the way Zakir Naik preaches, even when I was a Muslim, but I watched a video of him once. I watched more than one video, but I watched that one specific video once in which he discusses with an ex-Muslim about evolution. And I want to talk about that. Now, Zakir Naik never gets tired of mentioning that he is a medical doctor and even mocks people who can't answer basic science questions. Of course, we would expect that he knows what he's talking about if he talks about evolution like a hero and mentions multiple times that he's a medical doctor, right? At this point, whether you agree with evolution completely or not is totally irrelevant. This is just about Zakir Naik's wisdom of the matter and about his way of handling it. I'm not a master of evolution. I know just the basics and this topic, and that's okay, because I never claim that I know everything about it, and I don't point out that I'm a medical doctor, because I'm not a medical doctor. So if I make a mistake, please correct me. And also, before I begin, Zakir Naik is a medical doctor. Okay, follow me with this analysis now. In this following video, this ex-Muslim called Jahangir says that he is an ex-Muslim and asks Zakir Naik how Naik can respond to facts and proof about evolution. Zakir Naik asks Jahangir if he will come back to Islam if he receives a convincing answer. The ex-Muslim says yes, and Zakir Naik starts to talk. Spoiler, he will fail.
As far as the question on theory of evolution is come,
the first point is that the ex-Muslim asks about Islam's stance on evolution, but Zakir Naik talks about the evolution theory and starts talking about how Charles Darwin proposed the idea through his observations and a book. This is the first fail, because the thought of evolution existed long before Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin's contribution was a theory of evolution through natural selection, the big breakthrough. Zakir Naik talks in his answer very long about things that he babbles about evolution, and also apparently wrote a book about it. I don't know. I didn't even research that far.
And he said that I do not have proof as far as my theory of evolution is concerned.
Here he highlights that Darwin, when he noticed that, didn't have any proof. Well, no shit, because Darwin made the observation at that time and took it further to analyze it further. That's how science works.
So there is no proof regarding Darwin's theory at all. It's a theory, it's not a fact.
From that point on, Zakir Naik points out that Darwin had no proof for his theory, and that the evolution theory is a theory and not a fact. This is one of the most common mistakes and misconceptions that people make about science and evolution. And Zakir Naik, even though he claims to be a medical doctor who knows everything about the matter, makes the same stupid mistake. To explain this very simply, there is a huge difference between a theory and a scientific theory. A theory, as we all know, is an explanation or an interpretation of something, but is only possible and not really true and can be easily challenged. A scientific theory, however, is an explanation of a natural fact. It can be tested repeatedly and has been accepted by the scientific scholarly consensus. If more scientific evidence is gathered, then the theory can be changed, it can be altered, it can be widened, or it can be replaced. Evolution is, depending on how you look at it, a fact, and Darwin's theory was just a theory of that fact, an explanation of that fact. So, to make it very simple, a theory in English is possibly true, but can be easily challenged. A theory in science is accepted as truth and needs clear evidence in order to be challenged, changed, or removed in any way. The beautiful thing about science is that it is always open to proof. A fact is something that we can clearly tell is true, and a scientific theory is the explanation of that fact. Considering all of this, Darwin's theory couldn't even have been a theory at that time, but as we observed just now, Naik doesn't even know the difference and doesn't know what he's talking about.
Now in most of the schools, they teach Darwin theory as though it's a fact because they don't have any alternative.
Here Zakir Naik says that schools teach evolution because they don't have any other alternative. Can you believe that? That was possibly the most stupid thing that I saw crawling out of his mouth.
There are many scientists who support Darwin's theory, but as far as recent times are concerned, most of the scientists today they do not agree with Darwin's theory.
No, you got it wrong again. The vast majority of scientists agree with evolution as a fact. Scientists only don't agree with Darwin's theory word for word now, because it has been altered with new evidences that came up. That's how science works. That doesn't mean that people simply change their minds completely and change their minds on evolution, and that scientists suddenly believe that evolution is all a lie because Darwin's theory was not complete. That's not how it works. But Zakir Naik doesn't get that part because he's a medical doctor.
If there was evolution today, we should be having some people who are in between monkeys and human beings. You don't find that in any museum.
Here he says what many as a misconception say, that if evolution was true, we would have in-between beings in our time right now. Well, no, Zakir Naik, that's why we have natural selection. If natural selection is true, then it is totally normal that we don't have weird-looking creatures walking around among us right now. But Zakir Naik is a medical doctor who doesn't know that.
Most of the scholars today do not believe in Darwin's theory as a whole to be correct.
This time he says that most scholars don't agree with Darwin's theory as a whole. Well, this time he said it right, but what's the point? Oh well, later he repeats the same thing and says that most scientists agree that we don't come from apes. Well, no one said that we come from apes. Evolution doesn't say that we come from apes. That's a usual misconception. According to evolution, we have a common ancestor with apes. We don't come from them. And Zakir Naik should have known that because he's a medical doctor.
And that's what the Quran says, that we believe in the theory of creation, not in the theory of evolution.
Does the Quran say that? I really need to read it a fourth time. Of course, the Quran doesn't say anything alike. Zakir Naik just talks about how the Quran says that we were created. And he makes the same mistake and uses the words in a wrong way. Again, a scientific theory and a theory are not the same thing. This is my favorite part.
Hope that answers the question, brother.
No.
Well, now the ex-Muslim teaches him and says what I just talked about. It's not the theory of Darwin anymore.
What did you not understand?
What you say, it is true. It was true. 150 years ago, it was true. It's not Darwin's theory anymore.
I don't know of any textbook of medicine in any college in the world which says that we have been evolved.
It's literally everywhere in the West. Maybe not in Pakistan and India, I don't know.
The statement by itself, theory of evolution, means it's a theory. So by English language itself, you don't have to be a researcher. When you say theory, it's a theory. When the theory becomes a fact, it changes. That thing changes into a fact.
You see, a scientific theory never becomes a scientific fact. A theory is what explains a fact. But here at this point, Zakir Naik confirms my biggest fear and mentions the English language. This guy doesn't know the English language and he doesn't know the language of science, but he's a medical doctor.
So by the basic you saying theory of evolution, it means it's an hypothesis.
No.
It is not yet a thought. It's not yet a fact.
No. A hypothesis in science is a limited explanation of a phenomenon. It is different from a theory, which is a well-substantiated explanation. It is recognized by the consensus. Combined hypotheses, if proven and accepted, can combine and form a theory. A theory explains why something happens. A law in science is a statement about something that happens. And a fact is the thing that happens. Laws and facts are separate things and don't include a thorough explanation with reasons why things happen. These are totally different things. When the ex-Muslim here gives gravity as another example of a theory that everyone accepts, he refers to Einstein's theory of general relativity, Zakir Naik goes nuts and says,
I'm sorry,
it's the law of evolution.
I'm sorry, your knowledge of science is very weak.
and the crowd claps. The crowd would clap if Zakir Naik puked, which he basically does here. He says all of this because he doesn't understand science, even though he claims that he understands it. Let's take gravity as an example to understand this better. Gravity is a fact that we can observe. Gravity exists. It's a fact. Gravity is stated by Newton's law of universal gravitation that says that particles attract each other. Einstein's theory of relativity explains why this gravitation happens. Well, Zakir Naik, the medical doctor, didn't get it. From there he keeps ranting and insulting him and calling him absurd and ignorant while he keeps spouting his ignorance. After Zakir Naik just keeps talking the same ignorant crap that he learned as a medical doctor, his ignorant crowd claps and the moderator makes a joke that he thinks is funny.
And we will ask from the ladies section, inshallah, if there is any lady who has theoretical question.
That just reminds me of a gathering of extremely foolish people whom you tell that the grass is green, but their leader says that grass is blue, and the crowd agrees with everything he says anyway, and claps and cheers. Well, dear Muslims who propose Zakir Naik at any opportunity, after seeing Zakir Naik making such stupid, such ignorant statements, while he claims that he is very well educated on the matter and a medical doctor, while even insulting his opponent who obviously knows much more on the matter than him, how can I even go on and listen to any other garbage that he says? Not only is he annoying to listen to, he is also extremely arrogant and just simply rude and wrong. So off with that crap. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and if you like my content in general, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share this video. You can also follow me on social media for updates. I'm very active on Instagram and on Twitter. I also released a few new articles on Gallo Report. You can have a look at them if you like to read. And I want to give a shout out to Egyptian atheists who made my intro and outro for me, because his work is amazing. And he has a new YouTube channel that he started a few days ago. And it is very, very much promising. He's a great ex-Muslim who has lots of knowledge about Islam as well. If you want to support my cause, if you want to support what I'm doing, exposing Islam for what it is, you can consider supporting me on Patreon. I would very much appreciate it. I appreciate every kind of support. Even if it's only $1, I appreciate it very, very much. The links to that are below in the description. Thank you again for watching. Stay away from Islam, and Zakir Naik is a medical doctor. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
I am a medical doctor, and there are many researches being done.